Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you're joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Josie and, of course, your adorable adopted calves, Silk, Riley, and Channy. Today's chat wouldn't be possible without the generous support of the Midwest Dairy Association and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. So thank you to both of those organizations for making today possible. This live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. So for anyone that is new to Discover Dairy and the Adopt a Cow program, it is a free online resource that covers Common Core standards in math, reading, and science, all while using dairy concepts to teach those lessons. If you're interested in those resources, you can go to discoverdairy.com and we'll go ahead and drop that link in the chat for you so you can access those resources. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year. So if you're interested in joining again, or you stumbled upon this live chat and you're interested in joining the fund, registration is actually already open. So you can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt, ADOPT, and go ahead and fill out the form that's on that landing page and hit submit. Registration is completely free, and as soon as you register, you're automatically enrolled for the next year's program. The program will begin on October 3rd, 2023. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you'll see that chat feature is enabled. Please feel free to keep using that chat feature. Go ahead and comment, ask questions. I know we're really excited to hear your questions. Farmer Josie's excited to answer your questions. We just ask that you keep all of your comments and questions school appropriate and related to our chat. And before we jump over to Farmer Josie, we're going to see who's joining us today. So we're going to go ahead and check out that chat and see what classes we have joining us. So it looks like we've got Miss Fox joining us. So hello, good afternoon. We've got some St. Paul's Lutheran Preschool. Hello, welcome everybody. We've got a 4th grade class from Westwood Elementary. We're excited to have you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We've got Mrs. Dalfeld's 1st grade class. Welcome and good afternoon. And let's see, we have 4B from Bowman Woods Elementary. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Please go ahead and keep letting us know where you're from. We're excited to give you a shout out. We also have Miss Nelson's 4th grade class. Welcome. Good afternoon. And some 4th graders from Harrison. So welcome all. We're excited to have you all on board. I know Farmer Josie's excited to hear from you as well. So speaking of her, I am pleased to introduce you to Farmer Josie. Hey, Farmer Josie, how are you doing today?
Hey, Brittany, I am so glad that you guys are here and I'm so excited for the live chat. I've been waiting all school year to be able to do this with you so you guys can finally meet your 3 adopted cows. So today you're at my family dairy farm in Ely, Iowa. We milk 120 Holstein cows. And one really cool thing about our farm is we do it all with robotics. So we don't have to hook up milkers to our cows. We actually have robots in the middle of our barn that do all of the work for us. We actually started with robots just 2 years ago, so this is pretty new for us. And we absolutely love the technology. Technology is amazing, and it's been really, really great for our farm. The cows that we have on our farm are the black and white ones. So those are Holstein. So all of the calves that you guys got to adopt, Channy, Silk, and Riley, those are baby Holsteins, which as you see today, they're not really babies anymore. They're almost as tall as me. These cows have been growing all year. And it's not going to be long before their mama is here in the next couple of years. So we've just so enjoyed having all of your classrooms and families join in and watch these babies grow. And I can't wait to answer some of your questions today to share a little bit more about our calves.
Oh my goodness. I love that you guys have robots to milk your cows on the farm. Now you said you've only had them for 2 years. What inspired you guys or made you transition to having robots on your farm?
Yeah, so for us, it's a lot of work to milk cows. You have to go out and milk cows every day of the year, on weekends, on holidays, you name it. You've got to be outside milking those cows. But with the robots, you have a little bit more flexibility. And so for us, that meant being able to spend a little bit more time together as a family, which has been really, really special for us for Christmas mornings and other holidays. We definitely still have to be on the farm a lot, but we just have a little bit more flexibility.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are now able to focus a little bit more on other parts of the farm, and maybe what's your favorite part about having robots, or and did jobs have to shift and change at all? Like, do you now have a robot technician or anything like that? How does that work?
You know, the really cool thing, Brittany, about farmers is they do a little bit of everything. They wear many, many hats. So my brother, my dad, they are electricians, they are plumbers, they are robot technicians.
Wow.
They have to be able to fix everything to keep things going. But I think my favorite thing about the robots is just seeing how much they have helped our family be able to care for our animals in a different way. We have really, really been able to take the technology and shift how we do things so that way we can care for our animals in a better way. We're not spending so much time milking them. We're really able to hone in on all of the calves and cows and get to know them a little bit better and make sure they're eating healthy, getting adequate water, and of course
Yeah.
they have to have pedicures twice a year. Did you guys know that cows get
Oh,
pedicures?
what?
Yes, it's pretty amazing. So these are all things that we've been able to grow and adapt and do a little bit differently now that we have robots.
Very cool. I love that. And is there any other technology on your farm other than just the milking robots? Is there anything
Yep.
else?
Yeah, we have two other pieces of technology on our farm. One is manure collectors. Manure collectors are these Roombas. So if you have those vacuums that go around your house and they clean up the floor, we have these massive Roombas that go around and they clean up cow manure, which is super important because it helps keep our barn clean. And then we also can capture that manure and we can put it on our fields. So when we
Wow.
we haul that manure out, it is putting nutrients into the soil, which then helps us grow healthy feed, which then goes into feeding our animals. So it's this big circle of how we care for our animals, and every step in the process is really, really important.
Awesome. Wow. That's really cool. I love that technology is such a big part of your farm. And I think sometimes we think about farms and we think pitchforks and old school farming, but you guys are quite the opposite. And I must say, it is obvious that you take really good care of your cows, because our three adopted calves who are hanging out with you right now, they look like they are getting really, really big, and they are clear,
Yes.
well fed and very loving. So while we're hanging out with them, would you like to give us an update on how they're doing? We'd love to know,
Yeah.
how old are they? How much are they weighing? How tall are they
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, this is Silk. So those of you that had Silk, she is such a special calf. She is Miss Social. So she is probably going to be bothering me this entire chat because she loves to be scratched and she just loves people. So she is just a sweet, sweet baby. And and I say baby, but she's getting big. She's 9 months old, you guys. Can you believe that? You've
Wow.
gotten to see her from the time she was up to my knees all the way. Now she's well past my hips. So she is just growing like crazy. Believe it or
Oh
not,
my
all
gosh.
three of these calves, they weigh 400 pounds. So they are not starved. They are eating really, really healthy diets, and drinking water and doing everything that they should be at this age. It's not going to be long before we take these cows or these baby calves out of this pen and we end up moving them over to a pasture about 2 miles away from our family farm, and we will raise those calves until they're about 2 years old. And then 2 years old, that's when they get pregnant. And it won't be long after that, 9 months, and then they'll be in our milking barn using the milking robots and getting to experience all of the stuff that we do here on our farm in the robotic milking area.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe how big they are getting, and they're 9 months old. Oh my
I
goodness. They've grown so much so
I
quickly.
know.
They're I love how they're eating our camera right about now.
I
um
know. I know.
but, so what is considered full grown for a cow? When will they be considered full grown? Like what age, and like about how much will they weigh at that point?
Yeah, so most cows are full grown at about 3 years. She's definitely not going to get any bigger. She might gain a little bit more weight depending, but they're usually about 12 to 1,500 pounds at their
Wow.
peak. So they are still going to more than double in size, but they're going to do much of their growing here in the next couple of years.
Wow, that is going to be a very large animal. And I can't believe
I
you're going
know.
to get that big in like less than 18 months,
I
like less than
know. I
less than 12.
know.
Oh, that's
They
incredible.
yeah, they consume a lot of feed and a lot of water. In fact, when a cow is full grown, believe it or not, they drink about one bathtub full of water every single day.
Wow. That's probably quite close to like 30, 40 gallons or something
Yep,
along those
yep.
lines. Whew.
Yep, exactly, exactly. They need a lot of water to produce a lot of milk, and so we make sure they have access to fresh, clean water every day.
Wow. Now, about how much food will they eat when they get to be full grown?
They'll be eating about 50 pounds of feed as well. So
Wow.
it's that's a that is about a preschooler,
Oh my
believe it
goodness.
or not. I mean, in terms of that, so that they're eating a lot of feed.
Yeah, they definitely are. Wow. So they'll hit that full grown at about 2 years old. What happens when they get to be full grown? Like is do they have a calf? Do they join the milking
Yeah,
herd? Like what does that look like for them
yeah.
once they are considered full grown?
Yeah, so when they're about 2 years old, they're going to get pregnant. And then after they're pregnant, they'll raise that baby in her belly for about 9 months. And then after that, she's going to have a baby. And the second she has a baby, then she becomes one of our milking cows. So we take her baby, we'll take Silk, Channy, or Riley's baby. We'll take care of it just like we did. When they were little, we'll raise that baby, make sure they're eating, drinking, and just growing as they should. Meanwhile, these mamas will then be getting milked, and we'll take that milk, and we harvest it every day, and it gets picked up by the milk truck and hauled into to the creamery to bottle milk and make cheese and all of those other different delicious dairy products.
Ooh, so now you mentioned those dairy products.
Yeah.
Is that something, do you process on your farm or does it get picked up somewhere and go somewhere? And if it goes somewhere, do you know what brand it gets processed into?
Yeah, yeah. So, one thing really cool about our farm is we process the milk that we harvest here on our farm, and we turn it into different dairy products. So, if you've been ever to Ely, Iowa,
Yeah.
or heard of Dan and Debbie's Creamery, that's where the milk from our family farm goes, and it gets turned into milk in a jug, chocolate milk, butter, ice cream, and different kinds of cheeses. So, we get to not only experience the farm, we also get to experience making all of the dairy products, and we love making dairy products.
I love that you have that full circle experience for everybody, that you're taking care of the animal, you're providing them with fresh food, fresh water, you're harvesting the product, you have your milk, and then you get to process it and then provide it to the consumer directly. And I'm sure that process is probably very quick, right? There's probably like a 24-hour turnaround, so they're getting really
Yep.
fresh products from
Yep.
you guys. Wow, that's awesome. Very
Yep.
cool. So as we've been chatting, Farmer Josie, we've had a bunch of good questions come in already. So I'm excited to go ahead and start asking some of these. So we had someone, I know you mentioned pedicures, and someone was just curious, is that a similar process to how caretakers do it for horses with like shoeing horses and things like that? Or how does that work for a cow? Because it's not like you can just pick up a 1,200-pound animal. So how does that work
Yep.
for a cow?
Yep. Yeah, there is actually a piece of equipment that we use that tips the cow over on her side very comfortably. So we have access, safe access to their feet. It's really important that when we're trimming hooves, we're very, very careful because these are 1,200 to 1,500 pound animals. And then similarly to horses, like you mentioned, those calves are, or those cows are getting their nails filed essentially. So we clip them, we file them. They're not getting the shoes necessarily like a horse would, but they are definitely getting their nails trimmed and just checking for overall hoof health.
Yeah, very cool. And you said it happens about twice a year. So that way we're just making sure they've got a solid set of feet and legs. 'Cause that's pretty important. They do a lot of meandering around, right? So we want to make sure that they can walk around just fine and keep them very healthy. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that is super important, especially with robots for us. These cows are going into the robot by themselves. And so we need to make sure they are willing to get up on their own and access the robots on their own so we don't have to.
Sure.
So that's really, really important that we keep hoof health at the top of our cow care list.
Yeah. Now you mentioned they go into the robots themselves. do the cows like going in? Like, how often do they walk themselves in? How does that work? Do you train a cow to walk themselves in? I just think that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, just like dogs, we train our cows. Now, I compare them to dogs. They are not dogs. They are 1,500-pound animals. But just so most people can kind of get a feel for this, the first couple of days that they're in the milking herd, we train them how to access the robots. And believe it or not, cows like entering the robot because they feel a sense of relief from being milked. Cows were created to give milk, and so it's a natural thing for them to be able to feel that urge to be milked. And so whenever they're ready, usually 2 to 3 times a day, they'll go up to the robot and they will go ahead and enter. But I do have some ornery cows who the cows get a treat when they go into the robot for doing a good job, just like we give our dogs treat. And some of the cows will try to take advantage of that treat and they'll
Oh.
go in more. So we have to ration how much they're actually getting and make sure that they're following the rules too. But it's fun to see those cows motivated enough to go.
I love that. Oh, they know where their yummy treats are coming from. So of
Yep.
course they're gonna walk themselves in. That's cool. And I love that it's just a relaxing process and that they are really choosing to do this. And that's
Yep.
that's a pretty good testament to they think it's a really relaxing process and they enjoy it. So very
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
We have a good question. Paisley from St. Paul's. They were wondering why they're wearing earrings, and if you could talk about what that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Although each cow has different markings that are going to identify her and keep her, or for us to be able to tell who she is, it's still really important that we know exactly who she is so we can identify who her mom was or just other health traits throughout her life. So the ear tag that we give them, we actually handwrite their name on. You guys have probably seen a lot of those in the pictures that I sent you over the last year, but we write their name tag. So similarly to you guys might be wearing a necklace that has your initials or your name tag, we give our calves ear tags that identify who she is, and that's just an identification tool for us to know who the calf is as she continues to grow.
Very cool. That makes sense. And it's probably it when you put the ear tag in, it is probably very similar to like us getting our ears pierced, right? It's just like a little pinch and then you
Yep,
shake your head and off they go.
absolutely. They don't even bat an eye.
Right. It's very quick. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. This is a good question. We were wondering how much milk will they give once they get to be full grown and join the milking herd?
Yeah, most cows on average will give about 10 gallons of milk per day. So in a 24-hour period. Now there are some superstars that will give 15, and then there are some that will give a little bit less. It all just depends on the cow. Each cow is different, and it depends on a lot of other factors like what she's eating, what she's drinking, and how well she's cared for. So the better care that an animal is given, the more milk she generally gives. So that just encourages us to do as much as we possibly can to take as best care of these animals as we can so that way we can get the most milk.
Very cool. Thank you. That's good. That's a lot of milk, 10 gallons. Oh my
per
goodness.
cow per cow
Yeah,
now
I was
do the
gonna say,
math.
right. Yeah, remind me how many cows you have on your farm?
Yep, so we have 120. So if anybody's really good
Ooh.
at math and they want to do some math work after this,
Oh
they
yeah.
can do that calculation.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a lot of milk that you guys are producing. That's incredible.
Yep.
Let's see. So we have a couple people just curious, a couple different ones asking about like calf personalities. Do you have like
Oh,
one word maybe to describe each one on three adopted calves? Like how to best describe each one of them? Because we're kind of getting
um,
some personality of each one while we're watching them right now.
Oh
So,
yeah, you definitely are. Miss Channy over here to the left of me or right on you guys. She's a little bashful.
oh,
She's always been bashful, but she's very calm and sweet. But bashful is the word I would use to describe her. Riley is very, very calm. Let me see if I can get Riley to face the camera. She's sweet, but she's just very calm. And then you guys have gotten to know Silk a little up close and personal today, and she is ornery.
uh,
She's ornery and social, but it's funny how every single cow has a different personality, and not just when they're babies. Even our full grown milking cows, they all have a little bit different personality, and that's what makes farming and being around the cows so much fun. Is you get to meet 120 ladies that are all giving you a little bit different something, and it's really fun.
That's really cool. Yeah, Silk really loves you.
She, I
She's trying to
know.
play with you.
I know. It's like I rolled in corn silage or something. But Mariah, who's holding my camera for me today, she's getting a haircut, I feel like, because the calves are just sucking on her hair right now. So
Oh no.
that's all right. That's
The fun
this is
part, I
real
guess.
life farming, you
Right.
guys.
Exactly. Exactly. So we had a question that came in for you specifically, Farmer Josie. They were wondering if you had a favorite cow.
Yes, I do. It's hard to pick favorites because they're all so special. But my favorite cow, she's actually in our milking herd right now. She's 7 years old, and her name is Tiny.
Oh,
I just from the time she was born, she was really, really little, and I've always just had kind of a soft spot for her.
oh,
So even being full grown, she's one that's gonna be near and dear to my heart forever,
yeah.
for sure.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. There's always just one special one. So
Yep,
that sounds
yep,
cute.
yep.
So we talked about when a cow is considered full grown, which is around 2, 3 years old. Someone was
Yeah.
wondering how many years can a cow live for? And maybe do you know what your oldest cow is on the farm?
Yeah, our oldest cow is actually 12 years old right now.
Wow.
And she's old. She is a very old one. Most cows, I would say they're on our farm for about 6 to 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. And
And
that's pretty
that's pretty
average.
normal.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was going to say that sounds pretty average. And I think I've heard before that it's about 10 human years for every 1 cow year. So
Hmm.
sounds like they're living a pretty long and healthy life on your farm. And your
Yep.
12-year-old is very, very old.
Yes, she is. Her name's Ivy, and she's
Oh,
she's a sweetie. So yeah, she's the oldest of the crew.
awesome. Very cool. Let's see. So if you could just, we had some folks that just hopped on a couple minutes late, and if you don't mind just re-pointing out which calf is which, that would be
Oh,
much appreciated.
absolutely. All right. So we've got Silk here. Mariah, if you want to kind of get up close to Silk. And then if you want to turn pan and get Channy over there, Channy's are mostly white one. And it's funny because Channy, she looks a lot like her mama.
Oh,
She's just really, really sweet. Come here, Riley. And then I'm gonna get Miss Riley over here. Um, but yeah, they were all born within a week of each other, so they've grown up like siblings. Just they've been bottle fed together. They've grown into the teenage pen where they first were acclimated to each other. So they are definitely buddies, and
oh,
they've been together for since they've been born, and they will be for a long time. So
yeah,
it's fun to see that too.
that's cool. So you mentioned that they're buddies, and we actually had someone wondering, do calves play, or how do they play with each other since it's not like they can really talk, or like it's not like they have a phone they can play on or anything like that. So
Yeah.
how do cows play?
You've seen Silk kind of chewing on me, messing around, kind of nudging me. They sort of wrestle with each other, not on the ground, but just kind of pick on each other, nudge each other. They do love when they get fresh bedding. So as you can see, we've got straw here, and that's what we bed them with. So we just put some down this morning, and when we put new straw in, they go crazy and they kick their back feet and they just kind of run around. And so that's another way that they sort of play with each other. So that's very, very cool to see when you put fresh bedding down to see the cows go crazy.
Yeah, jump all over the place. Yeah, that's
Yep.
very neat. Now, along those lines of just trying to understand a cow and how they act, as a
Mhm.
farmer, you need to know when they're feeling well, but then also when they're
Yeah.
not feeling well. And I know you use some technology to help you with that a little bit, but what are some signs that you can tell just by looking at a cow when they're that to know they're happy or to know that something's wrong?
Yeah, so it's really, really cool because we have necklaces on our full grown cows that are in our milking herd. And these necklaces are like Fitbits. So if you wear a bracelet that monitors how many steps you're taking or what your heart rate is or all of those things, our cows wear these necklaces that do the exact same thing. And so if she is not moving the way that she should, meaning getting up to eat regularly, meaning going to the robots or 2 to 3 times a day, if she's not drinking water or we don't see her just walking around the barn, we start to question, if something's wrong. And then we can start taking temperatures and going through all of the things that the doctor would do for a checkup for you to see if anything's wrong. But cows they're pretty amazing animals because you can sense when something's wrong as their owner. You can tell if something's off or if they're just not feeling right. Sometimes their ears droop a little bit, but mostly it's a movement thing. They're just not getting up the way that they should.
Sure. A lot like humans, right? If I wasn't feeling good, I
Yep.
wouldn't go run a marathon. I would be hanging out on the couch or in my bed. So that makes sense that they would just be moving a little bit less. And that's neat that you as a farmer can pick up on that. It just shows how attentive you are to them and how well you know your animals, which I think is just a really great story. So that's awesome. Oh, this is an interesting question. We had someone curious and that you mentioned that you have Holsteins or the black and white ones. They were
Mhm.
wondering if different breeds make different amounts of milk or different kinds of milk.
Each breed gives a little different makeup of milk, but it's all milk. It's all white milk. It all starts as white milk. When I say a different makeup, they might give a little bit more cream, which is the fat that's in milk. So there are all different kinds of milk. There's skim milk, which has zero fat. There's whole milk, which is full 4% fat. And
Gotcha.
cows generally give that 4%, but there are different herds that will give a little bit more or a little bit less. The reason why we love Holsteins is because they're kind of center of the line. They give a good amount of both, and that really helps us over at our creamery, so that way we can make all of the different products that we make at the creamery.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you. I've never actually been asked that question before, so I thought that
It
was
was
a
a
good
good
one to ask.
it
Yeah.
was a good question.
Let's see. Ooh, we had a good question wondering how long do cows sleep for?
Oh my goodness, that is a great question. And honestly, I'm not really sure how long they sleep. I do know that a lot of cows they can rest even standing up. They don't have to be laying to sleep. And I think it would be really, really, really hard to identify if a cow is actually sleeping or not, just because they they don't always close their eyes either. It's
Right.
pretty common to see cows just blink all the
Hanging
time.
out.
So Brittany, do you know the answer? You guys stumped me on that
Uh,
one.
I think I've heard that they will be at resting point for like 14 hours, but they don't sleep for 14 hours. It's just like resting, but
Chill.
yeah, and that they
Yeah.
just do a lot of that. So
Yes, I
they just,
know. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
a cow's main responsibilities when she's a dairy cow are to eat, sleep, and be milked. And you can't eat all day, and you can't be in the milker all day.
Right.
So the rest of your time is pretty much just like you said, chilling. So that
Chilling.
14 hours sounds pretty darn accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. It sounds like they have a pretty amazing life because they just walk themselves into the robot. They're maybe there for like 10, 15 minutes or so until they're cleaned and milked and washed off and everything. Then they go eat whenever they want. They can drink whenever they want, and then they hang out with their friends whenever they want. It sounds like they've got the life made for them, which I think I would like to be a cow. Kind of sounds like
Yeah.
I might need to change my profession here.
I know. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of dairy farmers is to keep our cows comfortable and happy, because those are the cows that give the best milk. So that is our goal ultimately.
Awesome. So we're obviously, as you just said, your ultimate goal is to make them happy and healthy, and we love that that's your goal. It's very obvious. We can see your cows are happy and content. They love you. I'm going to wrap up with two questions here. One,
Sure.
we were just curious about like what does your average day look like? Like how many hours a day do you usually find yourself working on the farm? So what's the first question?
Yeah, so we start bright and early. We are out here, but farmers are actually working around the clock. between myself, my parents, my brothers who are primarily at the farm doing all of the work, we have somebody out here with the cows for about 20 hours of the day. Believe it or not, one of my brothers works late into the night because we have babies around the
Mm-hmm.
clock. We have cows that need our attention. We have things that break down. And so it's really important as farmers that we have somebody on site that can kind of take care of all of these things. But for the most part, since having transitioned to robots, a lot of what we focus on is cow care and cow comfort. So what can we do around our barn to make sure that our cows are being cared for? Um, it's fresh feed, it's fresh water, it's cow brushes. So we have these massage brushes that
Oh,
go around and cows can scratch up onto them. We have mattresses for our cows to lay on with some straw bedding. And then we have fans. And even when it's hotter than hot, we have a sprinkler system so the cows can kind of get wetted down so that way they're a little bit cooler and more relaxed. So yeah, that's our day, is just taking care of these babies, taking care of their mamas, and making sure that they're creating and making the healthiest milk possible for you guys to enjoy, really.
yeah. And it sounds like, while it sounds like a lot of fun, it does sound like it's still a lot of work. So that brings me to my last question, Farmer Josie. I'd love to know your why. Why have you chosen to be a dairy farmer? Why has your family gone into this? Why not chickens or pigs or just go to be a teacher? What was your why for your family to go into being dairy farmers?
Yeah, I think my parents are actually first generation dairy farmers, so they didn't get the farm from a previous generation. They started this from scratch, and so their passion and my passion is as healthy as it ever could be. And we just love feeling like we are creating a product for feeding our community. We love creating a nutritious product. Um, we love creating all different kinds of products. That's just really, really fun. And to be able to enjoy seeing these calves grow from being really, really little to in the milking herd, it's just something so special. And it's something my entire family takes great pride in.
Yeah. And that pride is so evident. I just want to say thank you for being an incredible farm, not only in this program, because we've loved following these calves and loved getting to know you, but just in general, being a fantastic dairy farmer and providing that product and being willing to work so hard day in and day out so we can enjoy our ice cream and our cream cheese and our milk. Because I probably would be a very unhappy person if I didn't have ice cream to eat as often
Me
as I
too.
do. So I am so thankful for your dedication to the dairy industry, for providing that delicious product to your community. And honestly, beyond that, being an incredible environmentalist, taking care of your land and the water and everything around you. Dairy farming is greater and bigger beyond the cows, right? You do a lot to make sure that that farm is profitable and manageable and being a really great part of the community. So thank you so much for everything you and your family do. I love that you guys are a first generation farm. There's not many first generation farms. A lot of folks have passed it down from generation to generation. So I think that's a really neat story, and your passion for the industry is clear and evident. So it's been a lot of fun following you this year and getting to experience your farm and your calves. So thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
this for us and letting us take this step onto your farm through, virtually, even though we aren't able to be there in person. It's been a lot of fun getting to see them through this chat. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we jump off today?
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who followed along in these journeys of these calves growing from babies. I, I I love sharing a piece of our farm with everybody, and I'm so grateful that you guys participated this year. And I hope you'll continue to participate in future years, because there's nothing more that dairy farmers love than producing really good products for you guys to enjoy.
That's true. I could not be more true. So, absolutely, I agree. Thank you all for being part of this program and making ag education part of your classroom. It's so important, like Farmer Josie just said, to know where your food comes from. And it's not coming just from the grocery store. There's hardworking farmers behind those products, just like Farmer Josie. And we absolutely love that you're willing to learn about that and love it and appreciate it, and choose real dairy in the dairy store. So in the grocery store. So thank you so much all for participating in the program this year. We look forward to having you again next year. Don't forget, registration is open already. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt to get signed up, and we will start the next year's program in October of 2020. 2023. Awesome. Everyone, we hope you have a fantastic